What's up guys, Will here with Rennthusiast, my YouTube channel that is about Porsche 911 ownership experience. And if you are somebody who has been hit with a surprise, expensive 911 repair, then this video is for you, because I'm going to share with you how I am taking a nasty surprise I just got hit with relative to my 76 911, and I'm going to turn it into a positive. I did a video about this a couple weeks ago, introducing my big problem with this 76. I need to send the transmission out for a rebuild. I have to have the motor dropped as part of that, so I'm going to do some refresh work there. And I've had to have the body of the car brought to my home garage to store while all that work is done. And so I've decided to do some things to the car while it's in my possession to add value to the car and enhance my ownership enjoyment. So instead of being pissed off by this surprise, I'm going to make it a positive. So in today's video, I'll take you through a walk around of the car. I'll share with you what it is I'm going to be doing. And one thing I'll be doing to the car is putting a newly refurbished set of gauges into it. The gauges that are in there are a little bit tired. They fog up pretty frequently. And so I have ordered a newly refurbished set of gauges, and at the end of this video I'll unbox those and share them with you guys. Before we get into that though, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel. This is the kind of thing I do, give you guys a transparent view of what it's like to own these cars. I also do 911 owner interviews. I've got a really cool interview coming up with the gentleman who owns a 911 Turbo, a 930. So I'm really excited about that. And then of course I cover events and really anything else these cars throw at me. So if that's for you, click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you're notified every time I publish new content. Let us now get into the walk around. All right guys, like I just shared with you, my whole mindset around this project, I've really worked hard to flip the script. So a little bit of background, I've had a fair number of surprises throughout my air-cooled Porsche ownership. I've learned the hard way that you need to have a willingness to repair these cars if you're going to own and enjoy them. So when I first got into them, I had a few nasty surprises, and I got really kind of sideways emotionally about it. Frankly, I got pissed and I got resentful, and I got all those things that, really removed the joy of ownership. And so with this green car, I'm gonna go on record and say that this is going to be a forever 911 for me. And so I'm looking at this journey of, dropping the motor and refreshing it to a certain degree and having to send the transmission out for repair. I'm looking at it as more of a labor of love. I'm trying to get out from under the idea of whether or not I'm upside down on the car. I want to keep that irrelevant. And so if you are facing a repair of your own on a 911, I would say to you that if you can get in this mindset, it will definitely improve your experience. But I'm going to put a card up to my first video on the process where it was shot at my mechanic shop and we talked through some of the mechanical details. So, go check that out if you didn't see it. And if you're somebody who just jumped on board the channel because of that video, welcome. So, talking about trying to make this a positive experience, what I've landed on is that while this car is stored at my house, the intention is to really detail it, get in the engine bay, clean it up, get under the car, spend some time refreshing it, making it look good, so that when the motor goes back in and when the trans goes back in, it's just, it's really fresh. There are a lot of areas in here that are hard to get to when the engine is in the car. And as you can see, I started to kind of bag off certain things that I felt like were maybe not going to lend themselves to getting fluid on them. But the first thing I'll say is I have noticed that this is pretty clean to begin with. And so, I'll do the best I can to get the paint a little bit cleaner. I do not want to remove the patina. I like that. I'm a patina guy. I'm not, an ice blasting machine guy. I would love to hear in the comments, by the way, are you somebody who would ice blast or whatever that's called, the underside of a car, or would you leave it as is? I have ordered replacement rubber parts. I've got them sitting right here. So I'm gonna pull those out, and I did also start to kind of tug away at some of the dirt underneath. And as you can see, just a little bit of minor jiggling, and I had that little pile of stuff come out. So I've ordered a mechanic's creeper. I'm gonna be rolling around underneath this, and should be an interesting process to get all that cleaned up. This thing has a pad keeper on it. It came with it. If you guys are looking for a way to keep your engine insulation pad up there, they fall over time, but this pad keeper is an ingenious, simple little invention, and it's very cool. That's the engine bay. Would look for any recommendations you guys have for doing a good solid cleanup in here. What cleaning agents would you use? What should I avoid getting stuff on? Because I certainly don't want to screw this up. So by the time it's all said and done, with the engine back in and the trans back in, I would hate for it not to start because of something I did. Something else I'll point out to you is that this grill here is worn. It's got, and you probably can't see it here, but it's got like a grease spot on the top side, and can't get it there either on the bottom side. So I've been thinking about replacing that. It's like 250 bucks, and so I don't know, would you recommend I leave it as is, or should I replace it? Would love to hear from you guys on that one. Here is the Frunk. I've started to clean it a little bit. I pulled all of these fuses out and I cleaned off the contacts as best I could using a wire brush. I have ordered a new engine seal here, or excuse me, hood seal. It's junk. It's, you know, it's just old. Something else I want to pay attention to is the seal around the fresh air intake. I'm going to order one of those as well. As you can see, like, that's just devastated. I guess dry rotted. Maybe when they did the repaint on it, it got some green paint on it, but you know, there's that. This car is 100% rust free, so that's definitely a huge plus. I think I could probably clean back in here some a little bit better back there. This wiring, by the way, when I take this car back to the shop, I'm gonna have my mechanic go through that. While we're up front, I'm gonna tell you about something else, and really the reason I do some of these videos is just to document my cars, just so I can look back at it later. So I wanted just to point out that this fender has been replaced. This car was hit back in the 90s. I think it was 96. It's documented. You know, I don't know. It looks pretty good. I'm sorry it happened. I wish it was accident free, but it's not. And frankly, I view it as part of the story of the car. This car has been painted not once, but twice, by the way. I have documentation of that. The paintwork was pretty good. When you get up on it, you can see some imperfections, but that's okay. I drive my cars, and so this car will get chipped up over time. Let's jump inside. I went ahead and pulled one of the gauges just as a little bit of a test to see how easily they come out. If you have any experience with these cars, you know sometimes they will fight with you. And so this one came right out. And the reason I did that is I'm swapping gauges. I have a really cool set of refurbished gauges I'm going to go with for this car. I have already switched out the factory wheel for the Momo. I'm a big fan of that. I plan on really digging in and cleaning under the carpet in this car while this is out. As you'll notice, I have one of the seats out here. I have a pretty unbelievable set of Recaros that I got recently from, I had a shop named Sunderworks reupholster them. I'll show you some footage of them right now. And I shot a video of that last week, or I published a video of that last week, so I'll let you check that out too. I'll put a card up to that. One thing that is bothering me is that is very, very dirty back there. If you have any suggestions for me about, you know, getting this carpet a little bit tidier without taking out any of the color, I'd love to hear that. So if you've really gotten your factory carpet clean, I would like to hear what you used. I am not going to replace this carpet. I replaced the carpet in this 993 with some German square weave, and it's cool. But I did miss my factory carpet after I did that, so I'm not gonna do that again. Could use some advice here. As you can see, this is warped. I believe I can fix that myself, but this door pocket has started to bow out. As you can see here, it's pulled away from the door. So any advice there? I guess maybe buy a new one, not sure. So that's the update. I am going to shoot the next video at my mechanic shop, where, by the way, I've spent the past 2 days glass bead blasting the engine tins. I figured why not get those repowder coated while we were at it. Let's now jump into the gauge unboxing and see what we can see there. All right, like I told you guys, I have not seen these yet. I have seen an example of this dude's work. His name is John Bell. And he did a great job on the gauges in my 69. The gauges in the 76 get foggy and they just don't look nice. Okay, individually wrapped. Can't beat that. There you go. Oh, look at that. Just something great about that. Okay, so far so good. Not that it matters too much. The car is a total mileage unknown. Just part of the deal with these older cars. Pretty gauges. All right, guys, if you're still with me, here you are, pretty gauges, and I hope to see you next time.